You finished sewing a knit top, tried it on, and immediately noticed something looked off around the neckline. Maybe the neckband is stretched out, standing away from the body, or just doesn't look as clean and professional as the rest of the garment. And the frustrating part is that these problems can happen even when the rest of the shirt turns out great. I'm Sarai, and I've been sewing for almost 30 years and teaching you how to create a meaningful custom wardrobe for the last 15. Today, I'm sharing 5 neckband tips that will help you avoid these issues in the first place and troubleshoot them when things don't go according to plan. To understand the first tip, let's talk about what a neckband actually is. A neckband is a separate strip of fabric sewn around the neckline of a knit garment. You'll see it on t-shirts, sweatshirts, and most casual knit tops. Its job is to finish the raw edge of the neckline, stretch enough to go over your head, then snap back to size and hold its shape after repeated wear. And that last part brings us to the most important rule of neckbands, and the one that trips people up the most. Your neckband should always be shorter than your neckline opening. Not the same length, shorter. I know it sounds counterintuitive. If the neckband is shorter, won't it be too tight? Let me show you what actually happens. Most people assume the neckband and neckline should be the same length, but cut them equal and the band won't lie flat. It stands away from the body instead of hugging the neckline. A neckband that's shorter than the neckline has to stretch slightly to fit around it, and when it relaxes, it pulls everything in snug. That gentle tension is exactly what gives you the clean, polished look you're after. Same fabric, same pattern. The only difference is getting the length right. You usually won't need to think about this if you're using fabric with the exact amount of stretch your pattern recommends. The cutting length is already calculated for you. But if your fabric has more stretch than the pattern calls for, your neckband can come out too long and end up looking floppy. It's worth knowing so you're not left wondering what went wrong. If you want to take the guesswork out of buying knit fabric entirely, I made a free printable stretch guide just for this. It's got a ruler printed right on it. Cut it out, bring it to the fabric store, and you'll be able to test any fabric on the spot and know exactly what you're working with before you buy a single yard. No more guessing, no more getting home and realizing your fabric isn't going to work. The link is in the description. We've talked about what happens when your neckband is cut too long, but what about when you follow the pattern exactly, use the right length, and it still comes out floppy? 9 times out of 10, the culprit is stretch percentage. And once you understand it, you'll know exactly what to look for. Every knit fabric has a stretch percentage, and that number tells you how much the fabric can stretch beyond its original width. A fabric with 50% stretch can go from 4 inches to 6. A fabric with 100% stretch can literally double in width. For neckbands, you want at least 50%, but stretchier is generally better because the fabric needs to stretch over your head and then fully recover back to its original size. Here's where that printable stretch guide comes in handy. Take it with you to the fabric store and use it to test your fabric in person. If 4 inches stretches to 6, that's 50%. If it stretches to 8, that's 100%. That's it. No math, no guessing, just a quick test right there in the store. But what about buying fabric online? This is where a lot of people get stuck. The good news is that many online listings will actually tell you the stretch percentage outright. So always check the product description before you buy. If it's not listed, the fiber content can give you a really useful clue. Spandex content in particular is a good indicator. A cotton spandex blend with just 5% spandex, for example, will typically have at least 50% stretch. The more spandex in the blend, the stretchier it's likely to be. It's not a perfect science, but it gives you something to work with when the listing isn't specific. When it comes to neckband fabric, you actually have a choice to make. You can cut your neckband from the same fabric as your garment, or you can use a dedicated rib knit. And honestly, both look beautiful. The difference is more about the look you're going for than anything else. The self-fabric neckband has a more seamless appearance since everything matches compared to the rib knit, which has that classic textured finish that you'll recognize from most t-shirts and sweatshirts. The main practical difference between the two comes down to that stretch and recovery we talked about in tip 2. Rib knit is specifically engineered for high stretch and reliable snapback, which makes it very forgiving to work with. Self-fabric works beautifully too, but it depends on the specific knit you're using. A lightweight jersey with great recovery will behave very differently from a looser drapier fabric that doesn't bounce back as well. So always test before you cut. And if you go the rib knit route, it opens up a really fun design opportunity. You can match it closely to your main fabric for a subtle coordinated look, or lean into contrast and choose something that pops. It's a small detail that can completely change the personality of a finished garment. All right, now let's actually sew one. This is the tip I find myself repeating more than any other because it's the thing that makes the biggest visible difference in your finished neckband. And it's so simple once you know it. Start by bringing the short ends of your neckband together with right sides facing and sew them together. Press those seam allowances to one side. It's a small thing, but pressing to one side keeps that seam a little more stable and makes it easier to match up to the notch on your neckline later. Then fold the neckband in half lengthwise, wrong sides together, so the raw edges are lined up. Baste those raw edges together using a long zigzag stitch. This is what turns your neckband into a loop that's ready to attach. And here's the tip. Stretch the band as you pin, not as you sew. Most people stretch the fabric while it's going through the machine. It feels intuitive, but what actually happens is you end up with uneven distribution. Some spots get stretched more than others, and you get a wavy, uneven neckband after all that prep work. Instead, stretch the band as you pin, not as you sew. That way, the stretch is distributed evenly before it ever touches the machine. Here's what that looks like when you're actually pinning. Place the neckband on the neckline with the neckband seam matched to the notch at the back. Pin all the way around, stretching the band slightly as you go so it eases in evenly. This is a great place to use fabric clips instead of pins. They don't create holes in delicate knits, and you don't have to worry about sewing over them by accident. But my absolute favorite method is Wonder Tape. It's a water-soluble, wash-away, double-sided tape, and it is genuinely one of those tools that once you try it, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. Apply the tape all the way around the neckline, then stretch the band slightly and press it into place. The tape holds everything securely so nothing shifts while you sew. And because it's stable, it actively prevents a stretched out neckband. Once your neckband is attached, press it away from the garment and press the seam allowance toward the garment body. Then give the whole neckline a good press. I know it's tempting to skip this when you're so close to being done, but don't. Pressing sets your stitches, smooths out the seam, and sets you up for a much cleaner result in the next step. By the way, we've been showing these techniques on the Morgan crew neck tee. And if you want to learn more about how to make a classic t-shirt like this, I just made a whole step-by-step video to show you how I made mine. Morgan has a crew neck, but everything we've covered works just as well in a scoop neck like Orlando too. Let us know in the comments if you're a V-neck person. That's a whole different technique that deserves its own video. And if you haven't grabbed that free printable stretch guide yet, the link is in the description. Cut out the ruler, bring it to the fabric store, and you'll never have to guess at stretch percentage again. Before we get into the options, let's talk about why you'd top stitch at all. Top stitching just below the neckband catches those seam allowances in the stitching. That's what holds everything flat against the garment and gives you that clean, finished look on the outside. Without it, the seam allowances can flip around inside and cause the neckband to bubble or pull away from the garment over time. It's a small step, but it's the difference between a neckband that holds up over time and one that doesn't. There are 3 main options for top stitching, and each one gives you a slightly different result. The first is a twin needle. It creates 2 parallel rows of stitching on the right side of the fabric with a zigzag on the wrong side, which gives you built-in stretch. It's the look you'll recognize most from ready to wear, that classic parallel top stitch you see on store-bought t-shirts. It does take a bit of troubleshooting to get right though. It requires a specific threading setup, and if your machine isn't threaded correctly for it, you'll get skip stitches or the threads will lock up on the underside. Definitely worth learning, but go in prepared for a little trial and error. The more straightforward options are the zigzag stitches. A regular zigzag is simple to set up and gives you a good stretch. It's a great place to start if you're newer to sewing knits. Then there's the 3-step zigzag, sometimes called a triple zigzag. Instead of 1 stitch per zig and 1 per zag, it takes 3 tiny stitches in each direction. That means a lot more thread packed into the stitch, which translates directly to more stretch. It's also more forgiving on curves, which makes it particularly well suited to necklines. It's my personal go-to, but it really comes down to the look you're after and what your machine does well. Whatever you go with, test it on scrap fabric first, the same knit you're actually sewing with. Knit top stitching can behave really differently depending on fabric weight, stretch percentage, and even thread type. You genuinely do not want to discover a tension issue on your actual garment. And here's a tip for once you start stitching. Guide the fabric, don't pull it. Pulling while you sew is almost always what's behind a wavy neckband. Let the machine do its thing and just steer. Now that you know how to sew a neckband, you'll want to make sure you're starting with the right fabric. And if rib knits still feel like a mystery, the next video is going to change that. From the different types to what to look for when you're buying, the tips that make them so much easier to work with. Watch this video next.